What's up? What's up? This is your boy Fareed Rashad, and you're here with Keep It Sharp with Fareed Rashad. What's up, everybody? Yeah, yeah. It's another week, and we back in the shops, and let's get it. I want to talk about this barber beef. Do we got a barber beef going on right now? We got a barber beef between Professor Miracle with and the pissed off barber on Instagram. What's going on with that, guys? We can't be doing that, y'all. Y'all is tripping. You got Miracle burning clippers. You got pissed off barber wearing a mask and talking about how trash Andes are. Come on, y'all. Let's stop the madness. Let's get it together. Where's the barber love? And I think there's another thing going on with this beef. It's OGs versus new school. And, we done been through this, before. We done discussed these things. Listen, you young barbers, especially if you're an innovative barber, and mad love and respect to the innovative barber. If you can come up with a clipper and tools to make the game much better, then shout out to you. But it doesn't mean that you disrespect another brand that's been in business over 100 years. And I'm talking about Andis. Andis Clippers Company's been around 100 years, bro. 100 years. Now, what started your guys' beef, I don't know. But listen, let's talk about Professor Miracle Risk for a second. Professor Miracle Risk has been around a minute, and trust and believe he uses Andy clippers faithfully, and I believe that's all he uses. I have seen him use a pair of Osters 76s before, but he pretty much used Andy Masters and the T-liner blades, and he customizes all his clippers. So shout out to Miracle Risk for being an innovator. Now to be fair to the pissed off barber, I never used any of his clippers, so I don't know how good they are. I don't know how bad they are. If they're, bad at all, they could be great. But I haven't used those clippers, not yet, but I plan on at least trying them. Being an OG barber, I'm used to using Wall, I'm used to using Andes, and I like using Babyliss clippers. That's what I like to do. So shout out to those three companies. Now that doesn't make any other brands, less, because I have tried JRLs, I have tried the Stylecrafts, and I like the way those cut too at times. But I'm so used to using Andes and Walls, and I started out with Walls, back in the late 70s. So Wall is probably, I'm more familiar with them than any clipper. But there was a time that I didn't use Walls for a while, and I was using just the Andes. And there was a Andy Master. It was an Andy Master that was made out of plastic. I can't remember what we called it exactly. But yeah, I used to use those a lot, and I would use the Style Liner too, which since then they have stopped making them. So I still have a M3 that I like to use, but it's hard to get blades for it now since they stopped making them. So shout out to Andes. And in the climate that we're in now in the barber game, you guys going back and forth with this, it sets a tone and a wedge between the older barbers and the newer barbers. Let's talk about old school for a second. Let me tell you something. When we were coming up in school, we learned right away. The first thing that we learned coming, before we even pick up a clipper, we learned about sanitation, sterilization. And, and that was like one of the first chapters in that My Lady book that we used to use. And, I'm going back to yeah, the mid '80s when I went to school. I went to school in Philadelphia, Tri City. It was about, I think I started that school in '86, and I graduated sometime in the middle of '87. Um, and back then, it was, I believe, 1,250 hours. So that was about 9 months if you went, from, it was like from 9 to 4 or 9 to 5, something like that. So shout out to Tri City. But the instructors made sure that we did, sterilization and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that they don't teach that now. I don't know what they really teach in school, but what they need to be teaching y'all is some damn manners and respect for the OGs. Because there are some things that, we know or was taught that these new teachers don't teach. And I'm sure of it, just by the way that some of y'all act. Um, we were doing styles that you don't even see anymore. And if you blessed enough to be around an OG, or you got one in your shop that's nice with the clippers, you better watch everything that he does. Because I bet and believe you're not going to. I bet you won't see that in a school. So it's a blessing to have an OG in your shop. And another thing, you know, when Instagram, or before Instagram, there wasn't all this who's the best barbers, and we didn't have barber battles. We had some competitions here and there, and they were friendly. And I remember when guys started drawing in the hair and stuff like that, and it was cool to see that stuff. But now that I think barbering is just spread worldwide amongst different ethnicities. I messed that word up. Amongst different races. Um, we, you know, the game has expanded tremendously. So there's a lot of talented and artistic barbers out here. So shout out to all the artistic and dope ass barbers. Now, you're going to always have the haters and the dry haters. You're always going to have that. No matter what you do or what field you're in, but in barbering, we have them. We have haters in the barbering game too. And, just last week, I had shot out a couple influencers that I thought was, doing a dope job. And, they didn't say nothing, but that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Because, listen, I've been in this game 40 plus years, and I ain't never had to, hate on nobody. If I give you props, I'm giving you your props. So shout out to all the dope barbers and influencers out here who's doing a good job, who shows the love back. Because one thing we ain't gonna do, as an OG, we not gonna kiss your butt. You guys get Hollywood and think you all that. Listen, we was doing this when it wasn't cool. We was doing this when nobody cared about barbering. You know what I mean? Now we got all these barbers out of nowhere, shops on every corner, suites in every building. And listen, if everybody want to be a barber, that's dope. I don't care. But don't come in the game, you know, smelling yourself and thinking you're gonna just come in here and disrespect the OGs like, like you all that. That's not gonna go down like that. For real. Like seriously. Y'all need to cut that bullshit out. And let's put some new haircuts on the damn gram, y'all. We do that taper haircut to death. We know that everybody can do that haircut. Let me tell you a little history about that haircut. And you can believe it or not. That haircut originated in DC. That haircut with the temple fade was here, but up to the point. So it was a little bit higher and more on an angle. And the DC boys used to wear that cut with a, they either wore with a low cut, but they mostly wore it with like a small fro. So Shout out to DC for inventing the tapered cut. Now there's different variations of it, and white barbers were able to do it, and they used to, a lot of white barbers and straight hair barbers, they would cut with scissors. They didn't use the clippers as much as the black barbers did. Now that the guys with straight hair, you know, wearing fades now they use more clipper than scissor. But shout out to any barber that can use any tool and create any style with whatever he got going on. Because I don't want to get into a thing about barbering and who did what, because we probably can argue that point for a while. But unless you were there, you wouldn't know. But during the 80s and hip hop and the early days of hip hop, the box haircut, the Gumby, the pompadour, these haircuts were like what you see mostly in the black community. The Spanish guys, they wore their hair a little longer. Some of them wore like a mullet, or they more of a curly style, and they used to wear the curl hanging and stuff like that. So that was cool. And like the white guys, they wore their hair a little longer. So a lot of their haircuts, they had to be done with shears and scissors. So shout out to those guys. And there was a time that you would be stereotyped with whatever type of haircut you had. If you had a mohawk, you was a biker or a gangbanger. If you had a high top head, you was a thug, and you was a drug dealer. Listen, I seen this firsthand as being a barber during those time periods. So, cut it out with all this hating on each other. OG versus the new and young school. You're not doing that. The barber game has expanded, has elevated. We entertain. Everybody wants to be a celebrity barber. You know what it takes to be a celebrity barber? It takes for you to be glued to that celebrity. That's what celebrity barbers do. They cut entertainers, sports figures, and stuff like that. And they, a lot of them fly around with them. A lot of them, be at their house 2 or 3 times a week. That's what it takes to be a celebrity barber. Let me tell you something. If you love cutting, which a lot of you say you do, if you love the game, you're going to love cutting whoever. You know what I mean? As long as you're making a dollar. Because when it wasn't cool and you would tell people, so what you do? Oh, I cut hair. Oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool. But now you tell people you cut hair, it's like, oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, it is what's up. But us coming up, we didn't have the same mindset that you guys have now. We blue collar. We grind, as OG mean, original grinder. We grind it out, and we come in Saturday mornings early, Friday mornings early. We didn't work on Sunday and Monday, and most shops were closed on Monday. So y'all don't know about some of those histories, and some of the barbers don't know about the pole and where that come from, and the red and the blue and the colors. You need to learn all the history, and you can Google it. Because doctors and barbers were almost on that same wayleaf at one time. So you got to know the history of barbering to even respect it, and maybe if you kind of know the history, you respect the people that came before you. Because without those guys, doing what they did, you wouldn't have did what you did. So at some point, if you were attracted to this profession, you must have was inspired by something, unless you just felt like it was just easy money to come get. And it's not that easy, especially when you got family and you got, a lot of things going on at barbers. We go through some stuff. So cut out the beefing, y'all. That shit ain't cool. Now, the future is, bright. We got a lot of changes going on in the world. We got AI here now. People is implementing that in a lot of their different businesses. So a lot of us are being entrepreneurs. We have other streams of income. Is the barbershop dying? It's a question that I've been asking myself for the last couple of weeks. Is the barbershop dying? Are we going into era where now barbers have suites? Barbers are not working in mainstream barbershops anymore. You got a lot of mobile barbers. And I do a little bit of everything. I do a little bit of mobile, but it's just a few customers, nothing major. But I work in a barbershop in the mall. And the mall is in a neighborhood. So it's still like being in a regular neighborhood setting. But the numbers are not, I feel as though, are not the same as it was during the 80s and the 90s. The numbers are a lot lower far as, going in a lot of these shops. So I'm asking, what do you guys think of that? Is the barbershop culture dying? That's what I want to know. And if it is, you young barbers will never know what it's like to get up at 6, 7 in the morning, go in a barbershop, and wake up to a line of, when you get there, there's a line of customers trying to get in the shop and get in the chair first. Everybody, I called you first, or I had an appointment, this and that. And then, because a lot of times the shops were open on the weekends at 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, stay up until 5 or 6 at night. Now some guys had a lot of clientele, so they might be there 10, 12 hours. And don't get me wrong, I know there's a lot of shops now that still has that old school feel, but newer barbers in there. So I know, so shout out to those shops. And New York and Philly and Baltimore and all these, eastern cities, I know that, the shops were like that. Now, I stay in Florida now, and I've been down here since 2016. And there's a lot of shops down here that are like that, but not like it was in those cities. All the shops were busy, but it wasn't as many shops back then like it is now. So that's what I'm talking about. Is the barbershop culture dying? It remains to be seen. It's a lot of people going to barber school. It's a lot of hair to cut. So I feel like there's still enough money for everybody to make money. But I feel like only the true artists of hair cutting will understand that the culture of cutting is art. It's not to be taken for granted. Because you can develop arthritis, you can have bad knees, you have bad legs. So shout out to the barbers who can stand for 10, 12 hours a day and be straight. Because it takes a special kind of artist to be able to look at somebody and, you might say, well, I want this, I want that. And boom, they got it. They see it. They visualize it already before they even pick up a clipper. And, everybody can't do that. You can go to barber school. You go watch YouTube. There's a mindset when it comes to barbering that's like no other, that you have to have in order to be a certain type of cutter. Now, a lot of people can pick up a guard and put it on to 2 to 3 to 4 and start cutting certain types of hair, but you have to know texture. You have to know lifestyle. You have to know a little bit about, the fashion during that time period. You have to know all these things to put together a vision and a look for a client that's coming and sitting in your chair. How do you hold this client? People think because you cut better than certain people, you're going to get all the clients. That's not the case. That's not the case. The one that gets the clients is the one who's consistent, the one who's friendly, and the one who talks to his clients in a certain way, because clients connect with barbers based upon how they view you or how they perceive you. And yeah, there are clients who go to barbers just because they are good, but that doesn't mean that he's the best barber in the shop. It's old saying, the best barber in the shop is the one who make the most money. So who makes the most money? The barber, like I said, that's courteous, that greets the customers, that's always there, Johnny on the spot. He grind his ass off. He gonna make the money. Point blank, period. He gonna make the money. Now, yeah, you can be talented and good and great and don't make no damn money because people don't want to deal with you or something to that effect. I know about all that. I've done all that. I've been that guy. I've been the guy. I've been both guys. In all the years that I've been cutting, I know what it's like. And being the barber that I am, I undo a lot of the bad habits. That's why on Instagram I call myself the unmastered barber. I unmastered what I thought I mastered. So you unmastered and you then try to master it. And that's a process. That can take years, that can take months, that can take decades. It doesn't matter as long as you try to do it. And alongside with being a barber, I'm also a documentary filmmaker, and I am a photographer who shoots primarily right now. I shoot a lot of fashion, and I have been for probably almost the last 8 to 10 years. What other careers do you guys do? You got some guys who say, well, I ain't only going to be behind the chair 6, 7, 8 years. If you're a real barber, and a lot of us are true to ourselves and true to the game, we're going to be behind that chair till we just can't be behind it no more. I know it's a guy in New York. The last I heard, he was about 105 or 106 or something like that, somewhere in that area, and he still cuts hair. Oh, yeah. There's a guy in Philly. He's 81 years old, Mr. Bird. He still cuts hair. And I'm sure there's other older barbers like that who still cut hair. I'm coming upon 60. I'm still cutting hair. So the true barbers, we gonna cut, brother. I promise you that. And we're gonna do it as long as possible we can. Some people might walk away from the game due to, illness or some type of physical, thing going on, or they just can't do it anymore. Listen. We're gonna do it as long as we can do it. Trust me. So all this, bickering back and forth and these barber beefs that we're having. Listen, we try to show love. I know I show love, to a couple influencers. On my last episode, I haven't heard from them. It's cool. Let me tell you something. I'm not in this to be Hollywood. I'm not in this to kiss your ass. I'm a barber's barber. Been one. And gonna be one. Whether I know who you are or not. And I'm gonna continue to shout out barbers that I see that's doing the work and that's contributing to the industry and the culture. So if I shout you out, don't take that as I'm riding your nutsack. Don't take that as that. That's me showing you love as a barber to a barber. But now if you Hollywood and you think you all that, then, you got me all the way messed up. Because I've been in this game for a long time since, a baby. So I know the ins and outs. I know, I know what it takes to do them, whether I've done it that way or not. I know what it takes. So, my way of giving back is to start speaking out. See, I didn't believe in telling, a lot of things. I didn't believe in going on YouTube and doing a bunch of videos and telling all that, because it's like with any game, you don't just give it away. And I say don't sell it either. You go to school, you learn, or you learn under apprentice. People used to go to other barbers and do apprenticeships, so they would learn up under another barber, whether he was a master barber or whatever. And a lot of people like to say that I'm a master barber. They go to school and I'm a master barber. How can a teacher give you a piece of paper saying already after so many months or a year or so you're a master barber already? No, that's not how that go, bro. Mastering barbering shit is almost probably a lifelong thing to do. You can't do that in a few months out of school. Is it impossible? No, probably not. I'm sure, there's talented barbers who probably was able to cut within a year or two and was good, like crazy good. And I seen good barbers, not knowing how long they've been cutting, but I seen good young barbers who were so good and sharp at it that, hey, they can cut with the best of them. So shout out to the barbers who was super talent, raw talent. And if I said something to offend you, then maybe it should. But I'm not here to offend nobody, but I'm not here to be, um, you know, disrespected, just like you don't want to be disrespected. And if we out here beefing about haircuts and clippers, oh shit, we in trouble. You know what I'm saying? And ain't nothing wrong with a little healthy debate and stuff like that. I ain't saying that. If y'all have an issue, shit, let's debate it out. We can have we can do you can have Zooms, you can have all kind of stuff to go ahead and iron that thing out. Or we can do a celebrity boxing match. Why not? Let's do a celebrity boxing match. I'm just kidding, but I'm not. So let's chill with the beef professor and the pissed off barber, and let's try to work that thing out. You know, for all you young brothers, that's striving to be great barbers, do that. Be a great barber. You know what I mean? But don't disrespect the OGs. The OGs, we not having it. Because some of them OGs, best and believe, they may not do all the color and fancy this and fancy that, but one thing we know how to do with a clipper, we know how to use that bad boy. And if you come from the school that's of hard knocks that we came from coming up in the early years, believe me, we learned some stuff that these instructors can't teach you. I bet I bet you on that one. So until the next time, we meet again, brothers. Peace.